Hi guys, and welcome back to Pass and Move. And for today's episode in our Lively Liverpool series, we've got a game against Tottenham. Now, just quickly before we get started, of course, if you're new, then please do subscribe, and if you like the video, of course, like, and do share your thoughts in the comment section below. Now that is out of the way, yeah, unfortunately, Liverpool will be playing Tottenham instead of the game that we promised, which was against Manchester City. A bit of a technical issue. I actually recorded halfway, I recorded the whole video of the game against Manchester City, but unfortunately, halfway through, there was some technical issue and it's just sort of stopped working, and so I can't obviously upload half a video. So yeah, we had to just move on from the Manchester City game. We'll talk more about that in just a second, but we did show you the last one, which is against Chelsea. If you missed that good result there, 3-0 defeat of Chelsea, then you should definitely go check out that episode. Stoke though, 2-2 draw. We've struggled against smaller teams, or so-called smaller teams, and we do seem to do well against bigger teams. You know, obviously besides the Manchester City game, maybe I'm just making things up, but we've got some decent results, like the one against Atletico Madrid, 3-1, with Coutinho and Salah with the brace managing to help us through into the Champions League knockout rounds, where we've drawn Celtic, so we should beat them and get into the quarterfinals, which is what the board expects, and then we can start showing you those games. In the cup competitions, we've drawn Watford in the FA Cup. In the League Cup, we've got Watford in the semi-final bill as well, over 2 legs, but we are now considered the favourites for the competition with just Southampton and West Brom in the other games. So we should make it to the final, and then we can show you the final. Hopefully we'll win that too. That's if we make it to the final, obviously, but it's just about our expectations. The board don't care, so it's not that much of an important thing, but it's just nice to add some silverware. And that's kind of it in terms of cup competitions. In terms of what happened since the last episode, Stoke was a 2-2 draw and away one. Considering the context of the game, it's a respectable result. Of course, we're away from home as well, and against Stoke of all people. Everyone knows how tough that is. But obviously we're favourites, so we should have been winning. But with the way the game went, which is Ings scoring in the 3rd minute, Jesse in the 62nd, we managed to complete a nice little comeback there in the last 15 minutes of the game with Lallana and Salah scoring to help us draw the game. So that was okay, and it seemed like we got things back on track by winning against Madrid as well as Watford. Managed to beat them 3-1, going 3-up at half-time, and then Troy Deeney trying to give his team some hope, but not enough apparently. But after that, our tactics seemed to sort of fall apart a little bit. West Brom capitalised on maybe, well actually this was a bit, to be fair to them, they had a bit of a dominant display. We're away from home, we should have been doing better, but unfortunately we couldn't turn the result around, or even get a draw for that matter. But at home, kind of a even poor result. I mean, obviously a loss is worse than a draw, but at the same time, we're at home to Newcastle. We should be winning the game 100%. And what makes it worse is Coutinho scored the brace to help us be 2-0 up within by the half time, and then in the second half, Newcastle managed to turn things around, and even worse so that they did it in the 90th minute of the match. So that's probably even more disappointing. So it was a bit troublesome because in games that we were expected to win, I said after the Chelsea game, all we need to do is win against Stoke, Watford, West Brom and Newcastle, which is quite straightforward, but it's games that we should be winning. You know, obviously you want to win everything, but these are games that we really should be winning, and unfortunately we only got 1 win out of 4 of them, and 2 draws and a loss, so it's just quite disappointing, because when we did face Manchester City, they ended up beating us in the 3-2 with Kevin De Bruyne scoring in the 91st minute. So the fact is, against Newcastle, Burnley and City, we actually dominated all 3 games. But unfortunately for us, we haven't shown our clinical edge, and we're also being punished on the break. So that's my main problem with this tactic. It's really nice, I love how it works and how the players play with each other, but the problem is we get caught out on the counter-attack way too easily. No matter how defensive we play, no matter how many players we set up, 1 through ball is all really what it takes, and that has to do of course with our high line. So we need the sweeper keeper to try and stop that, but I'll show you in just a second what's happened to our keepers. But yeah, against Manchester City, Mane managed to score to equalise after Jesus scored within 4 minutes, and we just start to dominate the game. Even into the first half, Manchester City must have had 4 shots within 10 minutes, and after that we managed to overturn the tide, and suddenly we were on 12 shots to their 4, and we're dominating in almost every aspect of the game. And then Silva punished us with a hit because Wallace had a poor, to be honest, Barton and Wallace, both, if you watch this game you'd understand, both of them were at fault for both of the goals, so it really should have ended 2-1 in truth if it wasn't, but you know, if Watson, you can go on about those stuff, isn't it? But yeah, Silva punished us after Wallace had a poor first touch, and they managed to go 2-1 up. Jorginho scored from a penalty, which is great. It was 2-2, and then I got to the point where I was thinking, okay, now we have to go on and try and win the game. So I went into overload in the last 5 minutes of the game. Mane was through on goal, could have scored another one to get his brace and win us the game, but unfortunately he missed. And Kevin De Bruyne made sure that he didn't miss in the 91st minute, and that was the end of that. So we really dominated the game. We deserved more from that. If not a draw, if not a loss, if not a win, we deserved a draw at least. But you know, this is how football works. So fair play to Manchester City to getting the win, and there were 10 points going into that game rather, and now they are of course a huge 13 points. And what makes it worse is that Manchester United and Bournemouth, who were both below us when we faced City, have now gone above us, and we are yet to play Manchester United, Tottenham and Arsenal. Of course, we're showing you the Tottenham game today. We showed you Manchester United earlier in the season, so I don't want to show you the same game, even though obviously the stakes are much more different. But I felt Tottenham, especially because we want to open up a gap between ourselves. We don't want to risk falling out of the Champions League spots, which are the board expectations. The board themselves are very pleased with my management, and we were doing fairly well up until recent fixtures in truth. So that's why I made some tactical tweaks. We'll talk about that as well, but I've made a couple of promises that I can't really keep. We've promised Firmino and Mane, with both Madrid and Barcelona interested in both the players as well. I think in the game for some reason Coutinho sort of dropped off, so that's good for me. But yeah, I've actually promised Firmino and Mane, who both want Champions League. They want to win the Champions League, and they thought I need to move to Madrid since they have interest in me. I can win the Champions League with them, and I told them, of course, I can't promise you that we'll win the Champions League, but we will get into the latter stages, which is a bit of a risky promise, but it's the only thing to keep them temporarily and try and hold on to them for the rest of the season. Hopefully, we do well in the Champions League, well enough that even if we do break the promise, they're happy with, you know, how we performed. So if we do underperform, of course, Firmino and Mane, you can expect both of them to move on, given what's happened. We've also sold Flanagan. We've moved him on. I mean, he's in the under-23s at the moment. He doesn't get to move until January, of course. But yeah, with Klein returning, it just made sense to have Klein and Vidal as our first choice. I'm a bit upset to move John Flanagan on, to be honest. He was performing really well for us, but unfortunately for us, his potential only allows him to get up to the good player for most Premier League sides. Now, of course, some people wonder, if he's performing well, why sell him? Well, the case is really you can get a leading player for most Premier League sides, and then they'll perform just as well. So it's not all about performances. It's also about ability. This is just my interpretation of it. Obviously, everyone has different preferences. They think if a player's performing well, why sell him? But yeah, John Flanagan and other players who aren't up to the standards, when it comes to crucial moments, they will fall short. And even if they perform well all season, the average rating is 8 all season, for example, when it comes to crucial moments, they will underperform because they've been out-abilitied, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's kind of it in terms of the goalkeeping department crisis. Karius and both Simon as well have been out for quite some time, and at the same time as well, which makes it worse. And so unfortunately I've had to get Camille, a youngster from our under 18 squad, I think, or even under 23, and he's only Sky Bet League 2 goalkeeper, so we don't have a goalkeeper we can rely on for whenever we are, you know, opened up or any of that sort of business. So it's been a bit unfortunate, but we just have to move on. Sturridge and Firmino also both injured at the same time. Thankfully, Sturridge is available for today's game, and Firmino is back from his injury quite soon. So hopefully, if we can get through these tough fixtures, we can quickly come, you know, save our season, I suppose, depending on today's result. So it makes today's game really crucial. I think we can finally kick off and stop the babbling, really. But just disappointing with the Manchester City game, in truth. Obviously, against the smaller teams like Newcastle, all those games that I showed you, those results are the ones that, you know, put us in a position to lose to Manchester City, I suppose. If we won all those games, we'd be only 3 points away from Manchester City, and maybe a bit more incentive from my players to try and beat City and close that gap and go first. But it didn't happen, so we have to move on, and hopefully we can do that today. So Tottenham playing with an interesting sort of Christmas tree formation, I suppose. Not so much, but 2 attacking midfielders, 2 central midfielders, 3 centre backs. They're quite covered in all areas of the pitch. Hopefully we can take advantage of the fact that Harry Kane's out of the game for some reason. Maybe he's injured, I'm not sure. But in terms of us, the players we've got, are some, mostly our first choice players. We've got Mane, Salah, Coutinho, Lallana. It's a very strong front four. Our first choice front four, other than of course Firmino being out. Sturridge just got back from injury, so I don't want to risk him, so Mane is going there, especially because our top goal scorer as well. We'll quickly adjust the tactic for him. Milner is coming for Chan, who's been injured. Jorginho coming in for Henderson, whose form dropped off a bit recently. Robertson for Moreno, who's injured. Klein, obviously just coming back from injury, performing well, so we want to keep him going as long as possible. And Barter and Wallace, our centre-back pairing. Barter and Wallace, both the issue for the centre-back for the City game, but obviously you can't just take a player off because of one game, otherwise their form has been really good, so we have to welcome back, guys. Sorry, there's a bit of a technical issue, but anyways, just to go on with the team sheet, I think we covered just about everything and explained why the goalkeeper. So these two, they are in good form other than the mistakes they made against City. It's, they're human at the end of the day. And Barter's a first choice player anyways. Wallace is just doing really good since coming in, so much so that Matt has hardly had a moment, minutes or anything. He's, complained of his football actually as well. That's kind of it. I think we can get into today's game. We'll give the team talk in just a second, but having looked at Tottenham's formation, I think we can really take advantage of the fact that they've only got one wide man on each flank, and so we want to really see these nice overlaps going on. So instead of playing our 4-2-3-1, which is quite high and the players might not necessarily overlap each other that much, I'm going to go into the 4-4-1-1, where these players can actually overlap each other quite frequently and take advantage of them only being one wide man. In terms of the tactics that we made the tweaks to, which helped us really start to dominate games, I mean, not necessarily get results, but we were dominating games. We're playing with a higher tempo. That's what we've added. We've gone back to what we initially had in the start of the season. We're playing with some width. We're also playing out defense, and we're exploiting both flanks. And actually we're also passing into space. Did I forget to do that with the other tactics? No, there's pass to space, literally just that one. Looks a bit. So we'll go back here, change Mane to a false 9, which is what suits him more than a complete forward. And I think we can just go ahead and kick off. So we'll just quickly tell our players. Apparently we're underdogs, so we'll go with the media of giving you a lot of credit. That should motivate them a bit, and hopefully enough that they look ready to walk through walls. I love that reaction from your players. Let's see if that happens now. End team talk. Nah, they're just ready for the match, so they're not too fired up. They must be still upset over that City game. We have such an incredibly difficult run of fixtures in the schedule. City, Tottenham, United and Arsenal all after each other, back-to-back games, 4 matches in a row. And we do well to come out of that fixtures still in the Champions League spots. That's the board's expectation. I was hoping for a Premier League title, but unfortunately City have really pulled away from us like they have in real life as well. And so we just have to deal with the reality of the situation, which is try and get Champions League football, build on the squad next season, get a better balance to your squad, and hopefully they're more adjusted to the tactics as well, and next season we'll be firing. Anyways, Rose is putting a really good through ball for Son. Thankfully Wallace is there to clear it up, and Grabara gets Mane on his way, but he'll have to find his teammates. Does well to go back to Robertson. Coutinho on the ball now. He's had an incredible game before the one against City, scored 2 goals, and I think he actually plays a little bit better as an inverted winger. Having said that, Rose finds Eriksen. He can quickly find Son through, and this is exactly the type of through ball I'm talking about. Sorry, I'll just pause it for just a second, but that's all it takes, a quick pacey forward to get him behind us, and that's why we need a top goalkeeper to actually sweep up. And unfortunately Grabara is a Sky Bet League 2, so if you ask me, this is going to end with a goal for Tottenham, even though it's their first shot. There you go. We've had 3 one-shot on target. All they needed is 1 shot, clear-cut chance, and in fact less possession as well. And this is what I hate about the tactic. I love every other aspect about it, but this one ball, this one mistake, what it takes from Mane. Couldn't find Salah. Rose picks up for Eriksen. Eriksen barely an inch on the ball, and he just has to send our players through. Despite playing an offside trap and playing a high line, Son is still free, breaks the offside trap really well, and our goalkeeper's not out quick enough to sweep up. Maybe, if we had Simon or Karius as well, they might have done a better job. But either way, next season coming around, you can expect to see us have a top goalkeeper, because I do not trust Simon or Karius. Neither player has really proven their worth. But anyways, Tottenham are on the ball again, trying to get a second quickly. And they're really starting to grow into the game by the looks of it, and despite playing a 4-4-1-1, they're still exposing us a bit, so maybe we should change to a 4-2-3-1 with 2 DMs instead. Son though loses out to Jorginho, who puts a good tackle in, and Grabara just has to be a bit smart with the type of football he plays here. Lumps it forward. Unfortunately it's to no one, and that's exactly the type of ball I'm trying to avoid, but Salah picks up the pieces, and what can the Egyptian do here? Tries to square it to Lallana, but Tottenham are on their way again, and we're playing on control as well, so we're supposed to be able to deal with counter-attacks, and thankfully Jorginho again dealing with the threat there, so it's good to see. Robertson just stupidly runs into Herrera, and Dele can get Son on the way again, who manages to break the offside trap. This time though he can't punish us, and I think it's fair to say we need to switch things up a bit, so we'll go into 4-2-3 on 2 DMs. Hopefully that can shut things down a little bit better for us. Jorginho, and alright, I think we're set. Let's go back on, confirm changes. We need to slowly get back into the game again, because we started off well. Tottenham just managed to score, but we were dominating, and now even the domination is going in Tottenham's favour. Even with the tactical switch, it looks like they're still doing better than us. But Coutinho, can you score the set piece? Oh, that's over. Normally when you have a key highlight set on and it shows you a set piece like that, that means this is going to go in. But at least it looks like we're slowly edging back into the game by the looks of it. Having said that, probably just cursed us because Herrera can find Son in the box, and Diaz cut out, but Son again with Dembele. Is he going to shoot? Back to Son. And there you go. Keeper Duck comes out to do his job, thankfully. Shuts that angle down quite well for a Sky Bet League 2 goalkeeper, and we're really getting caught out for our poor defending. Unfortunately, because of our high line and the high tempo of our football, we need to have alert, pacey centre-backs, and we don't have slow centre-backs by any, by any distance or any means, I suppose, if you want to say. But we still managed to get caught out, and a lot of that comes out to having an actual good sweeper keeper, and obviously we've been missing that for quite some time. So it's come to half time, we're doing okay but not good enough, so I think it's time to tell our players off. Might even have to go into the 4-2-3-1 with 2 central midfielders instead, to try and push out and do a little bit better, I suppose. If we're going to get caught out anyways, we might as well get caught out while being attacking, if that makes any sense. If we're getting caught out on the 4-4-1-1, then might as well be 4-2-3-1. But either way, Tottenham 1, Liverpool 0, and we aren't getting any better, so we'll probably switch up to the 4-2-3-1. Yeah, let's do that. No real change to the game, so maybe a tactical switch will help us. Alright, I think we're set now. Alright, there's a highlight, great. In our favour, please. Don't tell me it's just because I changed the formation that we're suddenly going to be exposed on the counter. Coutinho. Ooh, that is a lovely shot, curling but just wide, and he sort of let Tottenham off the hook there. Gonna have to make some substitutions to change the game by the looks of it. Salah coming off for Chamberlain, Lallana for Marco. Both players having poor games, and it wasn't the time to have a poor game in truth. Chamberlain as a winger will hopefully add some more width to our side. Jorginho can probably come off for Henderson, but we'll save that change for later. We've also got Sturridge on the bench that we can take Mane off for. He's had a bit of a quiet game too, and maybe we can bring on a complete forward. That's probably the better change to make, but considering how Mane played against City, he's a bit unfortunate to be substituted, and I think I'll do that now actually. Take off Coutinho, put Mane on the wing as is in his actual position. Sturridge complete forward, and hopefully we see some better movement and get an equaliser, if not a winner. We are away from home, so it's going to always be a bit tough against Tottenham, of course. We're also underdogs, but if we don't get out of these set of fixtures against these top teams in the Champions League, then you can expect us to easily drop off into out of these spots entirely, and suddenly we're in huge trouble. We're going to go into overload and just throw everything we've got at this game. We actually didn't go into attacking, which is kind of my mistake, but either way, maybe we'll have a chance to make amends here, or maybe we'll be punished. There's 5 more minutes to the game, and it looks like there's another highlight. Eriksen to Dembele. Can we shut him down quickly? No. Winks is on the ball, and he can set Trippier through, who's completely let down by Robertson, Milner, and Mane. It's disappointing defending, and again, Son punishes us eventually. Fair play to the goalkeeper, but maybe that wasn't good enough, and suddenly our season is turning around entirely. Fair enough that Winks is free because these players have come across to put pressure on Dembele, but right now, you know, what is Wallace supposed to do? He's got this guy to keep an eye on, Bartas trying to keep an eye on Son as well as maybe Eriksen, and suddenly Winks can easily find Trippier through, who Mane is not keeping an eye on, and Robertson's for some reason pushed up to Dembele, and there you go, just undone with one pass. And that's why I'm not a fan of the high line. Oh, okay, I don't know why initially I saw that the goalkeeper saved it and then Son scored, but he actually took a touch where he shouldn't be allowed to take a touch, and I guess the goalkeeper doesn't even try to save there, so that's quite disappointing. Anyways, 4 more minutes and it looks like they're squeezing in another highlight, so maybe we'll get a goal finally. Jorginho clears, Boni to Wanyama, and I thought Grabara had that, but apparently it is one hell of a strike in Tottenham, and hopefully tell me that in the game 3-0, because I don't think we can take any more. I'm actually going to go back down to control because goal difference and whatnot, and if we're not going to, there's no way we're going to score in 3 minutes, are we? But Jorginho's unlucky. I mean, he does head it out, he sort of clears it. Wanyama's free to take the shot, and Grabara can't do anything apparently there, and despite how equal it looks in terms of on paper, Tottenham are the one who capitalised on every single clear-cut chance they've had, and we didn't have any single clear-cut chances, but we didn't make the most of our half chances. Oh well. And I'm starting to consider switching to a 4-3-3. Oh god. I was hoping to get out of these fixtures with some decent results, but so far it's a loss to City, a loss to Tottenham, and God knows what happened to Manchester United. We're going to be back for the Arsenal game, and the board will probably start to be unhappy with us at this rate. We need to get results and morale back on track to keep our season alive. The good news is, obviously, after we're done facing all of these 4 teams, from about January till the end of the season, the only so-called top team that we have to face would be Chelsea, and actually City again, and that's it. So just 2 more tougher games, and the rest we should be winning. So that's the good news about it, but the question is, can we recover mentally and get results consistently against the so-called smaller teams to keep our spot in the Champions League? Because right now we're not in Champions League football anymore. At least we're still close, but the only team we can really overtake is Tottenham within the next game as in, and we face Arsenal. So if we lose against them, they close the gap to us. That's even worse, and they had an incredibly tough start to the season, or poor, not even tough, just poor. But either way, I think that's all for today's episodes. Like I mentioned, we'll be back for the Arsenal game, so literally just 1 game's time. If you did enjoy today's episode, of course, please do leave a like and subscribe if you're new. And obviously, please share your thoughts in the comment section below. But yeah, that's all for today. So thank you guys for watching.